Vince three-point shot.
It's a towering shot, baby.
The following is a production of the Rough Rider broadcast team, a presentation of Watlington and Shires Productions.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
Welcome, everybody. We're live from the pizzeria. It's time for the Rick Meeks Show, week number 2, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. It's the counselor, Stephen Shires, along with Larry, come on, Ref Pierce, along with the coach. Chris Wallington has the night off. If he's watching, hello, C. Watt.
Yeah.
So
we need to come up with a name for him, don't we?
C. Watt.
Yeah, C. Dub.
He's a C-W-A-T-T, all caps.
Oh, C. Watt. Okay, so he's not bright as a light bulb, so I don't know if we can give him that.
It used to be, Chris and Rob.
Okay,
It is for our home games now. So.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so.
Well, welcome, everybody. And, Coach, welcome to the show.
Yes,
week
sir.
number 2. And we're going to start with our first segment. It's going to be Flashback to Friday, where we talk about the football game against Spring Hill. We come out with another big victory. Offensively, again, we seem to be able to score at will. Defensively, I think improvement from week 1, and we got turnovers and stuff like that. But what's your general thoughts about the game?
I thought we did play a lot better defensively. We still have a lot of growing up to do, but the kids played at a different tempo and a different mentality, which created some turnovers for us. Got some 3-and-outs and, some change of possessions. We didn't play as well in the defensive line as we did against Tatum, and I think if we'd have had that element, then that we probably would have cut their point production in half at least. So, so still trying to get it all going together on the same side defensively. Offensively, we played well again.
Yep.
And executed well. And, so doing a lot of really good things there. The big deal now offensively is complacency and making sure we still are working every single day with the detail that we need to continue to grow, because the better defenses are ahead of us.
Yeah, that's true.
And, so we've done some good things, but, we're going to have to continue to do that.
Well, to give Spring Hill a little bit of credit, I think they ran that offense really well. I thought they executed it about as well as they could. We just had too much athleticism for them. But I thought,
I agree. And they did. They ran it well. And I'm gonna tell you, Coach Jocelyn has done a great job with them. They are very much improved from 12 months ago under year 2 with him there at Spring Hill, and they were much more physical than they were last year. They executed better. They were more disciplined. They're a good football team. And but I do think we had a little bit of a mismatch in the athletic department and in athleticism. And it showed, especially when we got the ball out in space and, just kind of let our guys go play.
So, Coach, when we talk about pros and cons, and kind of my take on that is, tell us about a player who obviously we could talk about Cash all day. We could talk about our running backs and our wide receivers and all those guys. Who's somebody, when you watch the film, that had a great game that may not be apparent?
Osvaldo Diaz, offensively, he plays left guard for us, and he has played phenomenal the first 2 weeks. And really all 5 of those guys right there. Because we don't score if those guys aren't on the field. We can't play 6 on 11, and they have done a phenomenal job, and they're always the ones that kind of get left.
Mm-hmm. Not on this broadcast, baby.
No,
Right.
But they seem to get all the blame when things don't go right, and then when things do go right, they don't get the praise. It's the skilled players that get the praise and their name in the paper and all that stuff. So, but Osvaldo has done a great job leading those guys. And
what year is he?
He's a senior. We have 2 senior linemen, Osvaldo at left guard and David Trejo at center, and those guys have been playing since they were 10th graders on the varsity. So a lot of snaps under their belt, and it's showing right now.
We all know that center is the absolute most important position on the field. If you don't have a good center quarterback exchange, nothing else is going to work.
Nothing else is good. The timing is gone.
That's really what I was wanting to talk to you about too, Coach, because I went back and got to check out the game and everything, and wanted to tell you how great your offensive line did, because when your running back gets like 19 or 20 carries and 300 some odd yards, or like 17, 18 yards a carry, all the touchdowns he got, your offensive line has to be doing really good. And just to bring up my poor St. Augustine Wolves, we were talking about the center. I'm an old offensive center too, and I was talking to Coach today. So we had some not very good exchanges that really were bad for us the other night, and that's because your center's trying to get a reach block or something. He's trying to get a little wild out there. But you're right. The center is very, very important, and your line played very, very well. And when your line is playing well, we all know how good your running back is, but still, it doesn't matter how good he is. That line still has to be a good unit.
Right. Well, the hardest thing in athletics is hit a major league fastball. The second hardest thing to do is be a center and get a reach block on with a shotgun snap.
Especially when they keep moving the gap on you.
They keep moving them.
So moving on to the next section, how was Monday and Tuesday? How have your practices been last 2 days?
Not bad. Yesterday.
Did you get to on Monday? I didn't know. It's a holiday. A lot of folks, they didn't do too much. But I figured Texas football, you're going to be practicing.
Well, we were. We went yesterday morning. Had a good day. Today we had to reset a few things, so I had to leave a little bit early. They were finishing up after I left, but wasn't a bad day. But like I said earlier, the better teams are ahead of us, and won this week for sure.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a minute.
And so we struggle with getting bored with details, and I think that's a common factor with teenagers, even outside of center. I don't think that's a center thing. I think that's a cultural thing now, and a society thing, and they feel like when they accomplish the big picture, it's okay, and that's not the case. Like the details are what's going to win the big games, and so sometimes we overlook those things and go back and repeat, and it's like pulling teeth with them, but we're gonna stay on them about it. But it's just they don't value detail, and so
once they finally do see that to come to fruition, they're like, oh, that's what the coach was talking about. There you go.
Absolutely, so those are real big for us on Monday and Tuesday. Obviously, Monday's an install day. Tuesday, you're going back and you're trying to do what you can from a full speed standpoint, adding to the install, and two big days for us. But all in all, not bad days.
Well, very good. All right, it's time to talk about Larry. Get a picture. Get that up for the camera here.
It's a pizza.
We actually did a little a half and half here.
Yeah.
So we have some.
Coach likes the pepperoni.
I had to give me my pepperoni.
That's right.
We like it all with like jalapenos and all that other good stuff on there, which is cool. So
again,
we're macking it out here tonight. I would say thank you. The pizzeria crew is always awesome. Love coming over there. And too, if you're like me, man, I love salads. They make a great salad. So get over here and get your salads too. They're awesome.
Very good. So let's see. We're about to go to break. We'll mention that our Coach Talk is brought to you all year long by JBA Financial. We're going to hear from them and Sabine State Bank, and we'll be right back.
JBA Financial Services brings you Coach Talk, and there's a reason for that. John Black knows that when you're preparing for an important game, you need a plan, and they'd like to be a part of the details, the X's and O's of that plan. He's put together a good team, a coaching staff that would help you and your family get where they want to go. At JBA Financial Services, They're working to secure your family's future. McAdams Propane Company is your East Texas propane provider. Josh McAdams represents the third generation of a family that has kept clean, efficient propane running to the facilities and farms of the area, as well as to the outdoor kitchens that make life fun. They also have the supplies that make an outdoor kitchen possible. Aware of the community, they have provided a luncheon for the first responders of our area. From the beautiful outdoor kitchen to the important fuel that keeps the engines running, keep your engine running with McAdams Propane and Center. At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you.
Everybody, welcome back. Again, thanks to Sabine State Bank, who brings us the title sponsor of the Rick Meeks Coaches Show, and thanks to Azalea Orthopedics, which is our platform-wide sponsor for the NetSN Network. And I'd also like to thank Ace Hardware, Brookshire Brothers, and Covington Lumber. Those are three sponsors. They're every month. They're for every sport. They do everything. Of course, I've always said, these places, they have all of our sponsors have great services and great products. They go there on their own strength. But if anything else, know that these folks give back and make these broadcasts possible. So, again, thanks to Ace Hardware. I had the counselor challenge. Ace Hardware, I challenge you to go to Ace Hardware and ask for something and they not have it. Because they got that big warehouse. They got everything back there.
I know one thing they don't have.
What's that?
A battery backup.
Well, they'll get it for you.
I know they will. They just didn't have it the time I went and got it. But I know that. But, yeah, you're right. Ace is always awesome out there.
So, Coach, let's talk a minute about other sports. I know we think about fall being football, but we have other sports going on. What kind of give us a brief update on that?
We do. Volleyball, matter of fact, playing tonight in Nacogdoches. They start district on Friday. Carthage, they open up district with Carthage. Team tennis is rolling. Their JV's playing right now versus Rusk. They have a couple more matches throughout the week. And then cross country is rocking and rolling. They ran down in Nacogdoches this past weekend, had some really good finishers. Yuli Garcia was the lead finisher out of kind of boys and girls. I believe she finished 7th. And so really good things happening there. Junior high sports are kicking off. Junior high volleyball plays Thursday. Junior high football has their first game Thursday. And junior high cross country ran this past Saturday. So a lot of things going on in the athletic department, a lot of really good things going on in the athletic department, a lot of kids excelling, and a lot of things for us to be proud of.
Well, very good. Thank you. Go ahead, Pierce.
Are you the new athletic facility is open and everybody's able to get in there and kind of check it out?
Close.
Yet? How's
close.
that going? We're getting real close to it.
We're getting real close. I think we're probably within 2 weeks, if not sooner. Thank goodness the first things that ended up back ordered were the last things that needed to go on. So we weren't put behind very much. But there's still a few things with some netting and some railing and fencing for some ADA compliance type things, and then we should be in there. But it's a beautiful facility, so
yeah,
we're very excited about
just
that.
kind of looking on the outside of it, it's really nice. I know you guys are excited to get in there.
The kids are staring at it, just ready to go.
Ready to get in there.
Some shade, baby.
Right.
All right, everybody. That's our update on the other sports going on and on the athletic facility. Of course, our sponsor of the week this week is Campbell's Portable Buildings, who brings us the area roundup each week. And Wallington had sent me an area roundup to go through, but I didn't get it in time to get it incorporated in the show. But we just know that, I think the district, we had Brownsboro and then in Bullard. Both of those teams pulled upsets. They were not favored to win their games, and they won them outright. And then Rusk won big over Crockett. Just interesting because Crockett is a lot of years is a powerhouse team for that that area for that size. And then Van ran up into a buzzsaw with Chapel Hill.
Sure did.
And then and Carthage did what they do, 42-0 at halftime.
Versus Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And Pittsburgh was another team that traditionally has been good,
Correct.
up there.
Well,
Yes, sir.
it's like I was talking about a little earlier before we got started here. I was looking at you guys as a district, and I think there's, it's only 2 weeks in, but I mean, there's only 2 losses by 2 teams in there. One team's in 1-1, Canton and Van. Everybody else is 2-0. So this is going to be a tough district going forward. I know you got a couple weeks to go, Coach, but I tell you that DeSoto game you got coming up, it's going to be really tough. And then one more, but this district, even though you're not really looking ahead, you kind of are because you know what you got coming up for you.
You do, and week in and week out is going to be a challenge, and it's even more important when you look at the district you match up with in the first round of the playoffs. And so, you're really jockeying for first or second, because if you end up third or fourth, you're going to draw Gilmer or Pleasant Grove out of that other district, and so not only is every week in district tough, if you're not careful, then the first round of the playoffs is going to be tougher than maybe another opponent.
Yep.
And
you got to face them, but you'd rather not do it in the first round.
That's right. That's
Exactly.
right. You would love to wait until Thanksgiving,
Yep.
Definitely.
All right, folks, we're going to hear from Campbell Portable Buildings and Sabine State Bank, and we'll be back and we'll talk about our core belief system as we move on to the Tuesday belief. This is the Rick Meeks Show live here at the Pizzeria.
It's one of the great slogans, right? Just tell them James sent you. But when James Campbell sent you away from Campbell Portable Buildings, he wanted it to be something that met your needs, whether it was storage or some inside beautiful living area. They can take care of you at Campbell Portable Buildings, where your building matters. They say, go Riders.
Have you sustained a bone, joint, work, or sports injury? Problems with mobility or movement? Suffer with pain? Contact Azalea Orthopedics. Our specialists serve patients across East Texas. For proven, trusted medical care, you have a choice. Demand Azalea.
At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you. It's a small office, so
I'm hungry. What is there to eat around these parts?
Well, this is Texas, so you're probably going to want some barbecue.
Barbecue, you say?
Yes, and the very best you can get's at Yard Birds. You just pull on up to the drive-through window. When you get there, you tell them what you want. They got good stuff.
Do you think that would be good with some scones and a spot of tea?
No, you better leave that in your purse. Get you a beer or a soda pop.
Yardbirds, Tennehaw Street.
Everybody, welcome back to the Rick Meeks Show, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. It's time to talk about the Forge. Pierce, you've lost a bunch of weight. Are you going up to the Forge on the square?
No, not yet, but I've been thinking about it. I've been to the Forge before when years ago I used to have a membership there, but I like the Forge. I like going in there and working out. It's a good place to go get raw heavy metal and work out. That's kind of what I like.
It used to be down in the basement of a building, and then Danbert moved it to his current location on the square. So that's the Forge. Go by there if you're seriously into working out. Danbert's been a personal trainer for a long time, and he'll help you out. So that's the Forge located on the square. All right, Coach, tell us about the core belief system and what it's all about, and kind of we're going to talk about Tuesdays.
Yes, sir. So, like we talked about last week, we have 5 pillars of the program, and each day of the week is a pillar, and it helps us be intentional about just our values and our core beliefs of our program. And like we talked last week, Mondays is ownership, and Tuesdays is grit. And so for us, we believe grit's an attitude characteristic we can develop. You're not either born with it or not. Like, this is something that you truly can develop, and it's the whole ball game. And for us, like we talked last week, we have a common language, so we have a way to talk with our kids, and our kids can talk to themselves and talk to each other. And so with grit, it's so what, now what. So it doesn't matter what comes your way. What are we going to do about it? Good things happen, so what, now what? I got to move on to the next thing. I can't live in the past, can't worry about the future. I got to worry about where my feet are. Bad things happen, so what, now what? Move on to the next. And it's just, for us, this is the biggest pillar probably than all of them, because like I said, it's an attitude characteristic, and we can develop it. And we talk to them a lot about being interested or committed. You can be interested in something, but you're not ever going to be as successful as somebody that's truly committed towards it. The interested quit when it gets a little tough.
Yep.
The interested and then the committed is
Well,
going to get tired, and they're going to say, all right, now what can I do to go finish it?
You know what J.R. Ewing said about this? He said the difference between interested and committed. The chicken is interested.
Yeah.
The pig is
pig
committed.
is committed.
That's exactly right.
And so, grit is a big pillar for us. And, majority of the time throughout the school year, it falls on a game day. Baseball, basketball, volleyball, tennis, Tuesdays is a game day. So that's another reason why grit is part of the Tuesday pillar, because it really helps us in competition. So, it's a big thing for us, and like I said, it's something we can develop, and it's something that we spend a lot of time on trying to develop it, because our mindset and our attitude toward adversity is got to be one that's programmed correctly, because if not, when adversity happens, you just fold like a tulip. We can't have that.
Yeah, the grit. That's what you learn that because especially with teenage kids too. It's hard to you win a bad play and then none of the bad play, and then you go back to the replacements and the quicksand type of thing. But with that grit with the kids, and you're showing them how to be tough and rise above that, you don't end up having a lot of that issue like
Absolutely.
you might have sometimes.
And human nature is to survive.
Yeah.
Human nature is not to be uncomfortable. Human nature is not to go to great lengths to achieve something and it hurt me, and exhaust me and tire me. And so when they get into those situations, human nature is just, hey, let me take a step back and just make sure I get through it. But great things never happen that way, and championships surely never happen that way. And so we've got to get them used to being okay, being uncomfortable, in the right mindset.
Right, but that is truly the power of the athletic program. I believe. I mean, 8-8 of this year was 35 years since we started our summer camp last time. I was coached by I don't know if you would call him legendary or infamous Bill Bryant. Did you ever hear about him?
Yes, sir.
Well, and he said, you plan your work and work your plan. And that is an adage that I still live by today. So,
Right.
I mean, I learned that. I didn't learn that in the classroom. I learned
Right.
that on the football field.
Right.
And it's just, and the other thing is we all have days where we throw an interception in our
That's
life.
right.
And you have to be able to deal with that.
Right.
And this teaches that. So, I mean, I think
correct.
to me this is the power of
No,
athletics.
absolutely.
That,
It's the
and
big
the
one.
teamwork too, because like in my position I am now, I have a team, and I don't feel like I'm like I got to be a coach, but I mean we're a team. I want to know what my team's doing, and we have to be a team. And the teamwork is where I learned, from football all those years and all those sports and teams. I mean, being a team player, you learn that, and it really does count later in life if you're like
That's right.
that too.
And there's a lot of things, and I know there's a reason behind every decision that's made, but sometimes I really think our education system has done a disservice to our kids. And in athletics, you can't modify athletics.
Right.
There's not a 504 plan. We when something doesn't go your way, we can't bail you out with some paperwork.
Right.
Like, you've got to find a way to work through it. And the ones that truly go about it that way are the ones that are going to be successful. And for the better part of the day in the classroom, it's not that way.
Right.
But athletics is completely different. It's truly real life situations through a game. I get it. It's a game, but there are a lot of things that we can teach through the game of football or athletics or any other sport that's going to stay with them the rest of their life and help them become better men and women.
Right.
Well said, Coach. Well, again, we'd love to have y'all come down and watch the show live. We're here at the pizzeria, some fine pizza,
Yep.
and some it's just good. And it's been good since I was a kid.
That's good stuff.
You eat this and then go see Danbert at the Ford.
Got to go work it off. Exactly.
But we'd like to thank Mooney's Emporium. Again, all kinds of stuff in there. The special stuff like we talked
My
about.
office manager, I was wearing a shirt the other day. She said, "Where did I get that shirt?" You got to go to the Emporium.
Yep.
They got them right down there. She'll get them for you.
So thanks to Mooney's Emporium. And, of course, did y'all know that Joe's Car Wash is now owned by our own Reed Grant? I mean, if your car needs –
that's the one down there by the Dairy Queen and all that other stuff?
No, the other one on down the road by across from the Sonic.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You go down there if your car needs some special treatment, a pedicure, or something like
Oh,
that.
the
Go
Joe's
down-
Car Spa. Okay.
Yeah, go to Joe's
there you
Car
go.
Spa.
Yeah, I know where you're at. Yeah.
So, again, thank you, Joe's Car Spa, who is a sponsor show, and thanks, Reed Grant, for continuing that on. We're going to take a break here from Center Motor Company, but we'll be back quickly as we get ready to talk about next week.
Already?
Center Motor Company. From whatever angle you look at it, you see Ford. Ford trucks, SUVs like the Bronco, and iconic cars like the Mustang. A legacy managed by Kevin Jones and created by Ray Jones. Center Motor Company on Hurst Street in Center.
Everybody, welcome back to the Rick Meeks Show, brought to you by Sabine State Bank here at the Pizzeria. Now it's time to talk about the North DeSoto Griffins. But before we get into the X's and O's, Coach, we learned today that Louisiana has special rules on halftime, so it may be a situation where our band and chaparrals perform before the game. Or did you know anything about that, or is that news to you?
I didn't know anything about before game.
They said it might be possible to do it before a game, but our halftime's only like 15 minutes, so we probably wouldn't be able to perform.
But
so
I knew halftime in Louisiana is a lot shorter,
right.
And kickoffs at 7. So kickoffs at 7, and instead of a 30-minute halftime, it's about 15. So
right. They want to get done.
We're looking at 45 minutes.
I figured that maybe they were
football.
trying to do something, to maybe cut down on protection, and just trying to security or something. I didn't know maybe why they had done that.
No.
It's just something that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yes,
so I guess what we need to tell everybody is that it's unlikely that a full halftime show will occur.
Probably
Correct.
see their band, but not anybody.
Yeah, and so if we're going to get performances, it would likely be before. We will find out, and we'll post that if that's going to be the case, because a lot of folks like to watch that. Mm-hmm. And then if that's the case, we'll get on early so we can be able to cover that. But anyway, now let's get to the X's and O's. This North DeSoto team last year was quite impressive.
Yes, sir, and they still are.
How did they do against Airline?
So Airline beat them 55 to 42. Airline scored 30 points in the third quarter.
But they're a powerful team, and much bigger than North DeSoto, right?
Correct. Airline is a big 5A in Louisiana, which is their biggest classification. They would probably still be 5A Division I here, but obviously 6A is our biggest classification. But it was a good game on both sides.
You got to watch the film on that?
Yes, sir. North DeSoto's still very talented. They have a lot of kids back from their state runner-up team last year. Graduated some offensive and defensive linemen, but all of their skill kids on both sides of the ball are back. They play extremely hard. They're very similar to us. They're a fast-paced offense. And the irony of all of it is, in the coaching world, nothing's original, right? Everything is either clinic together or stolen, and there's a group of probably 12 to 15 coaches that I'm a part of that we do a lot of things similar offensively. Coach Dunn happens to be in that group with me, and so offensively, verbiage, formations, pace of play, everything we do is identical. Mm-hmm. So we know each other really well, so it's pretty neat from that standpoint. But they're very well coached. Coach Dunn's history from Evangel to when he was the head coach at Louisiana College, just the things that he's accomplished. They're a very good team, and they're very talented again, and we have our hands full for sure.
Right. Now, DeSoto, is this a team that y'all normally play all the time? I know is it just something to add there? Is it something maybe you might keep on there as a schedule? I mean, they're a powerful team. It's good. You want to play. You got to win big. You got to beat big. Yeah.
Outside of the friendship of me and him, I think it's a game that we both like. Mm-hmm. If we can get over the fact that we know each other so well. Yeah. Because
it's like kissing your sister.
Yeah. I mean, we and that's the thing. Because normally this group, I mean, we usually talk daily, and I bet you there hasn't been much going on over the last 2 to 3 weeks because we know we're fixing to play each other. Right. After Friday we'll get back to where we collaborate a good bit, but it's I think it's a really good game for both of us. We're close in proximity. That's the type of competition that we need to be playing. Mm-hmm. That's the type of atmosphere our kids need to be in. So we're ready for the bigger games,
right?
In district and when we get into the playoffs. And so it's a good game for us. And it's one that I would like to keep on the schedule. I don't know what Coach Dunn wants to do. We hadn't discussed that yet, but I also like it from our standpoint because outside of the teams that are in our district, where we're located, we're traveling 2 hours just to play a non-district game, and they're just 40 minutes up the road. So it helps with that too.
Right. That's
from an X's and O's standpoint, like you said, they do a lot of the same things that we do. We noticed the pace of that. I mean, their pace was.
Yeah,
we
their pace is
we
special.
couldn't get anything in.
I know, but
And I think we play fast.
Yeah.
But we don't play at their pace.
But I know that you do, Coach. But I mean, still, my coach had a little green spot. I don't know, but if somebody, he's got those full special plays. Even if somebody knows, you got that extra little ones that maybe he don't know about.
Yeah, there is that. But there's also only so many of those you can add.
That's
into
exactly
what you
true.
do.
You
So.
can't really.
And
get
you
away
don't
with
want
all
to.
those.
Yeah, you want to
don't
use
wanna
those
give them
early.
away right there either.
But I guess last year, we didn't start off well, and we had turnovers and got us behind the 8 ball, and then after that, things kind of settled in, and it was almost an even game. So obviously, one key is to don't turn the ball over.
Correct. And it started so fast. They ran the opening kickoff back. They kick off to us. We fumbled on the first play of the game, and they recover it. And then they actually go on a little 4 or 5 play drive, and we cause a fumble on the 1.
Yep,
so
right.
we get the ball back, and then the very next play we fumble in the end zone,
Wow.
and they recover it. So now it's 14-0. They kick off to us. We go 3 and out. We go to punt. They block the punt, scoop and score it. It's 21-0 like that. And our kids' heads were just spinning, like the pace of the game, the speed of the game, the intensity that North Dakota played with. We just weren't ready to match it. And that's one thing that we have definitely talked a lot about over the last 2 days. And now we're going to their place, so it's their home opener. They're going to be amped up even more. And so, we've got to be ready to go from the jump because they will be. And our kids that were on the field last year, or remember that. And
I think they've mentioned it a few times.
They've been talking.
They're ready to get some.
They have been
a little
talking
bit of
about it at
payback there,
practice.
a little payback.
And so there's good and bad with that. One, I'm glad they remembered that, and I'm glad they're ready to do something about it. But then we also got to make sure we make it about 2023 and not 2022, and stay on track here. But I think it's good that they experienced that because they're able to give information to guys that weren't just how fast this game is going to be played because it's not going to be anything like the first 2.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you, Coach, for that. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this is going to be a real barometer, I think, for where we are.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree. We need it, and we need to see where we're at so we can get ready, through Dangerfield next week and on into district.
Very good. So we're hoping to get some cheerleaders or twirlers or some chaparrals here, and when we do, they'll be courtesy Gaddy's Medical Supply. We're going to hear from Gaddy's Medical and Sabine State Bank, and we'll go to our final segment, which is something to smile about, right after this. You're listening to the Rick Meeks Show, or watching the Rick Meeks Show live here from the pizzeria on the NETS, the NetSN
NETSN.
network.
There you go.
There we go.
Read your hat.
Exactly.
At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you. It's a small office, so everybody.
Gaddy's Medical Supply is your one-stop shop for all your medical supply needs.
Jack Allen, where's my ankle wrap stuff for my sore ankle?
Your ankle wrap or your Kinesio wrap?
The old guy wrap.
Ah, the ankle wrap. It's in the top bathroom drawer.
Okay, thanks.
If you are recovering from an illness or an injury, Gaddy's Medical Supply can offer you the support you'll need.
Jack Allen,
Yeah?
where did I put the raised toilet seat?
Check behind the door.
Right.
From crutches to canes to chairs, Gaddy's Medical is there for you.
Behind which door?
The hall bathroom, Dad?
Okay.
Okay, take care of yourself or someone you love with Gaddy's Medical Supply.
Have you sustained a bone, joint, work, or sports injury? Problems with mobility or movement? Suffer with pain? Contact Azalea Orthopedics. Our specialists serve patients across East Texas. For proven, trusted medical care, you have a choice. Demand a
All right, buddy, it's to our final segment, Something to Smile About, brought to you by Wyndham Family Dental. What's something to smile about this week?
I got one for you. And I know that it's just, getting ready to go and everything like that, but you got to make sure that he is on point because you may need him through the year. But I understand your field goal kicker did very well this past week, and you need a guy like that. His leg got wore out with all the extra points he went through, but
Right.
you needed that.
Carlos has done a great job through 2 games. He's 17-17 on extra points, and then he hit a 41-yard field goal
Yes.
Friday
There you go.
night. So
good confidence in the young man that you may
Let's
need
talk
him.
about that for a second because how important is that? Because you get an idea. I mean, a 41-yard field goal that's a
important.
very long.
Very important.
And I remember a few years ago, right before you got here, I mean, we kicked a field goal in a pre-district game, and then we almost had the exact same thing against Van, and we're able to kick it and win the game. And I think it was extremely valuable to have that experience and for your kicker to know that he can make that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you know, when you get down in the red zone, it's nice to know your only option isn't always a touchdown.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you get in there and sure, that's what we want, but you also want to end every possession with points. And so, you know, you get into a 4th and 8, 4th and 10 or whatever situation to be able to have that and confidence in that, not just be able to have somebody that can make one. I mean, and Carlos is very consistent and does a really good job. And so that is definitely a weapon that is very nice to have.
Exactly.
Coach, that just make you smile every time the ball goes through the door.
It does. It does.
Right.
Yeah, and plus that means a lot of times we've scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Next time I want to talk about the 2-point conversion and our next week because on how we do that because
Yes, sir.
Run the swinging gate, Coach?
it's not really
Swing,
it's a version of that.
Yeah.
But it's I mean we steal some easy points that
We
way.
do.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we can talk more about it next week, but it flows into the tempo. You know, we get lined up and defense is kind of is down and out because that we just scored and before they know it we've got it snapped over there. So
Yeah.
but yeah, we can definitely talk some logistics with that.
All right, very good. You got something to smile about, Coach?
You know, I think mine's probably going to be more program related. You know, yesterday was Labor Day practice, and I will say now in year 3, just the expectation that our kids know that we have, I think is starting to show up. You know, my first year here, Labor Day practice was not very good. Attendance was not very good. Same last year. I don't remember off the top of my head 2 years ago, but I do know last year because I looked it up yesterday. But last year we missed 15 varsity kids on Labor Day practice that just no-showed. And yesterday we only had 1, and he was accounted for. And we knew back the very first day of practice, July 31st, that he had already had something with his family that there was nothing he could do about it.
Oh, okay.
And so, you know, just the fact of the expectation, our kids understand. You know, once the season starts, every day we're going to work.
Right. Yep.
And it's just kind of part of the commitment. But once again, it's one of those things that makes you better in life as you get older. So that's definitely a positive for us right now. Just the mindset and the program going in the right direction.
And when you're winning, you like to smile.
That's right. Exactly.
That's correct.
Well, thank you, Coach, and thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the Rick Meeks Show live here from the Pizzeria, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. And a big thank you to Steve Waters at Sabine State Bank for sponsoring the show. Be sure to join us. We think at least at 6:30 because it's a 7 o'clock kick. So
7 o'clock kick.
So we'll bump the pregame back to
So we're
6:30.
going to start at 6:30, so I want to make sure we get you on 9:30 a.m. at 6:30.
Yes,
Okay.
and if it looks like the band and we're going to get those performances at before the game, we may kick on a little earlier so we can get the pregame show in time to catch those. At halftime, the Borders Poultry will bring us the Up Close and Personal this week with Courtney Mayfield Ballman, our Chaparral sponsor. Of course, we'll always talk to Coach Meeks in the JBA Financial Coach Talk, and we also always have our Gaddy's Cheerleader Spotlight, and this week it is signed on Sayre Hall. Of course, you know, whether it's at halftime normally or maybe pregame, we have the Bounds Insurance brings us Shelby County Sweethearts, Chaparrals, and Deb's Boutique brings us the Pride of Shelby County Center High School Band. Stay with us through the Wiggins Farms postgame show where we'll talk about the DQ play of the game. Last week we spoke with Caden Dixon and to the Center Motor Company player of the game.
Did we get any watermelons from Wiggins Farms? I thought we were.
We can.
We were working that
Yeah,
deal. I
right.
don't know.
Wellington Shires Productions brings all of this to you live on NetSN, live on the YouTube. Go to YouTube on your computer or smartphone or smart device. Type in NETSN and then scroll down and you will see very clearly the link for our game. We'll also be simulcasting on the radios, like you said, on 9:30 a.m. Thank you, Larry.
No
Come
problem.
on, Riff.
Come on,
Pierce.
Riff. Come on, Riff.
Until Friday then.
I'm ready for some of that. Yeah.
For Larry Pierce, for AD. I'm sorry. For Rick, the AD Meeks. You now have a nickname.
I got a nickname now.
And Chris Wallington, I'm the counselor, Stephen Shires. See you next week from the Pizzeria.
Thank you, Pizzeria. Y'all are awesome.
Appreciate it.
3-point shot.
It's a towering shot, baby.
Red Horse takes it to the house. This has been a presentation of the Rough Rider broadcast team, brought to you by Watlington and Shires Productions.